Good day, all you podcasters in Podcastville, and welcome to round 2, second session of the Rex Johnson podcast. Had such a wonderful time last month with Dr. Clint Phillips. We talked about his upbringing, where he came from, and what he has been able to accomplish in his life, and it's quite a journey. But today, on this March 7, we have somebody here that really, I'm just going to kind of say yes, yeah, all that stuff to him, because this man is one of the most articulate-minded persons I've ever met in my life. He's brilliant. He's an awesome lawyer, attorney, and just absolutely has really the law in him. It's not books with him, it's inside of him. And he's a man that has become, in the years that I have been privileged to pastor he and his family, he has become a dear, dear friend of mine. In fact, a friend that is closer than a brother. He's a man that would lay down his life for his friends. He's that kind of person. And so I'm very excited to introduce him. But before I do, I want to tell you what this podcast is about. This podcast is about attitude. On the screen here beside me, you'll see it in a little while. There's 4 words. There's faith, there's hope, there's life, and there's leadership. And all those happen in our life behind a word called attitude. Attitude. And I said to you before, and I'll say to you again, if letters were numbered and the word attitude was spelled out, and A was a 1, and B's a 2, and C's a 3, and D's a 4, and you put all these letters with the word attitude, you would equal 100. So everything that is attitude purposed and attitude driven, we believe brings out the right demeanor in all of us, and it also brings the favor and the blessings of God. And so today, I'm going to introduce this man, but I'm going to introduce him from this paper here, because he's done too much for me to memorize it. He's done too much for me to put it in my brain. I probably could have years ago, but not now. So I'm going to introduce this man the long way, because he's worthy of that kind of introduction. I introduce you today to a man named Dale Wainwright, and we'll show him in just a moment. But he is, first of all, a Christian. He is a married man. He has a wife named Debbie. He's a father of 3 sons, Jeremy, Philip, and Joshua. And he'll talk about those in a little while. He was, years ago, a resident judge of District 334 in Harris County, appointed by Governor George Bush, then Governor George Bush, and he served there 10 years. And then he decided that he would like to run for the Supreme Court of Texas. And he was the first African-American to be elected without being pre-appointed by a governor. He just ran and became a Supreme Court justice. What an honor. It was a little while after that I was privileged to meet him. And he served on the Supreme Court for 10 years. He retired from that back in 2012, 13, I forget the exact date. But then he became, according to Governor Abbott appointed him the chairman of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice, in charge of overseeing the Texas prisons. What an honor. This man received that honor. And then later, Governor Abbott said, you know what, Dale? I think I'm going to make you the commissioner of the Public Safety Commission, overseeing the Texas Department of Public Safety and the Texas Rangers. By the way, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a Texas Ranger, so he could have been the man that was over me at this time. He still holds that position. And then last year, wow, an honor came to Dale. A prison known as East Ham Unit for over 100 years in Lovelady, Texas, was renamed the Wainwright Unit. And it is the largest maximum security prison in all the state of Texas. And the man I'm going to introduce to you today, his name is on it. What a joy. What an honor. And after he retired from the Supreme Court, he went to work as an advocate, he says, for the people with Greenberg Torrig Law Firm, one of the 5 largest law firms in all the world. And he's now one of the chairmen of the boards on that law firm. So the list just gets longer and longer. It just keeps running and running and running. But here he is today to talk to us, one of the most beautiful people, one of the most wonderful men. On Sunday mornings, he helps me greet people at the door of the church. And he just got that kind of heart. In fact, there's a scripture that I want to quote before I bring him on today. Simply this, Psalms 37:4 said, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." So Dale Wainwright is one of those men, one of those people in life that absolutely just found life a delight. And he delighted himself all through his life. In fact, I've never seen this man not have a smile on his face, not have joy in his heart, and not have people in his spirit. He loves people. He loves people. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you today a man that needs no introduction because you now know what all he's done. But I appreciate him being with us. Dale, welcome to the Rex Johnson podcast. We're happy to have you. See what I'm saying? He's laughing, smiling right now.
Well, Pastor, I'm just honored and humbled by that introduction. And it's a blessing to be able to join you for the Rex Johnson podcast and and honor God and talk about what he's done in our lives.
Yes, sir. So Dale, why don't we start at where you got your roots. Let's talk about Tennessee a little bit here today.
Okay.
Let's talk about Tennessee. You know, a lot of Tennesseans came to Texas and helped us become a state here. So let's talk about Tennessee and where you were born, how you were brought up, and how you started on your journey.
Okay. Well, Pastor, as you know, I'm not old enough to have come from Tennessee to help with the Alamo. That was a few years before both of us. But I came from Tennessee to Texas 30 years ago.
All right.
Grew up in a town called Mount Juliet, Tennessee. Population at the time, 1,500. It's just east of Nashville. And I was fortunate to grow up in a godly household.
Yes.
My dad was pastor of the church most of my young life.
PK, preacher's kid. Yeah.
PK, that's right. And Mom was an integral part of the church. And they emphasized making the right decisions, prayer, following the light as God leads you in your path. And we followed the light, Jesus Christ. Wow. And hard work. Hard work was always part of it.
You too? Is in my life.
I mowed the yard every week, and Dad would help out a little bit, but that was my job, and I understood it. Mom also emphasized education for me and my two sisters and my brother.
Yes, sir.
And so always focused on education. Was happy to have been able to earn a scholarship to go to college.
Yes, sir.
But for that, I would not have been able to go to Howard University in Washington, D.C. You can imagine, country boy goes to the nation's capital. I was so naive at that point in time. And then after a couple of years there, I was blessed to earn a scholarship to go study overseas at the London School of Economics.
That's big. That's your first big. Yeah.
Well, country boy goes overseas to London, England.
Yeah.
I was an economics major, and I loved that experience and learning. Then I came back. From the age of middle school, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. You read the Constitution and our country's history and learn about justice and equality and fairness, concepts that are central to our Constitution.
Right.
And I just knew that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a lawyer.
Right.
And so I went to law school, and after that practiced a couple of years in Tennessee, and then God called me to Texas, and I'm still here today with my cowboy boots on, and I'm a Texan.
Cowboy hat, too. Sir.
I wear that occasionally on Sundays.
Yeah, you do. You do. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, tell us a little bit about then how you got into this judgeship thing. You came to Texas as a lawyer. Then you were appointed there in Houston to be a resident judge there and you stayed there 10 years. You did a lot of cases there. How did that come about?
Well, I'd never planned to be a judge.
Okay.
In law school, while I was practicing law for 11 years before I became a district judge in Houston. But God opens doors.
He does.
And my life is all about God leading the way and opening doors to do things that I had never planned to do. Yes. Mom and Dad had always said, be the best there is at what you do. Because with hard work and the talents you've been given, you can get there. Yeah. But I didn't plan this path. So I'd been practicing law in Houston for about 9 years, first 2 years in Tennessee, as I said. Mm-hmm. And I got a call from the governor's office, governor of the state of Texas at the time, Governor George W. Bush's office, and they asked if I was interested in being a district judge over civil cases, not criminal, but civil cases in Harris County, Houston. And I said, well, I hadn't thought about it before, but I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, practicing law. And the voice on the other side from the governor's staff said, really? We've never had anybody say no. I said, well,
that's funny.
Since I hadn't been down that path before, I thought, well, I need to think about this some and pray about it then and talk to my wife. So I went home that night and said, honey, I have an opportunity to apply to be a district judge, and I might even get it. And I said, well, things would change. First, I'd try a lot of cases, get a lot of experience. Plus, once you've been a judge, you're known as judge the rest of your life, which would make practice even more productive for me.
Right.
And she said, what else? She's a smart lady. Debbie's a smart lady, love of my life. And I said, well, the budget might be a little different. I'd go to government pay. And she said, a little different? I said, okay, a lot different, honey, but only for a few years. I think I'd probably be a district judge maybe 3 or 4 years. She said, okay, I'll support you, whatever you want to do. So then I became a district judge and loved dispensing justice and loved reading the briefs and listening to arguments. And I made up in my mind when I first got there I was going to do the right thing. No matter what happened, no matter what the press said, I was going to do the right thing. And I like to think that's what I was known for on the district judge and in the Supreme Court. So after about 3 years, I got a call from some political analysts, and they said, well, you ought to think about the Texas Supreme Court. There's a big meeting in a few days. If you come there, we'll introduce you to some folks. And so I went back to my wife and I said, honey, remember that 3 to 4 year arrangement? She said, yes.
Still love me? You still love me?
She did. I said, well, that may turn into a longer engagement. She said, what are you thinking about? So I told her about the opportunity. She said, go for it. I'll support you. And my kids were great, Jeremy and Philip and Joshua and my wife. So I went to the meeting to meet some important people in election process in Texas that a few days later, and decided I would enjoy being on the Texas Supreme Court. So I campaigned. And in 2002, I kept a diary of the campaign. I took more than 150 trips outside of Houston around the state. Because in Houston, people knew me. I was a judge, and I'd been elected to keep that seat once. But outside of Harris County, Houston, I wasn't known. So I had to campaign and get out to meet people in a state that's as big as all outdoors.
It's big. Only Alaska can brag being bigger.
The map doesn't do Texas justice. It's bigger.
It's bigger.
It looks.
It's bigger.
And so we campaigned, had a contested primary election, and then primary runoff, which I won, then ran in the general election in November of 2002. My opponent was the former president of the State Bar of Texas, and we were fortunate to win that one. And then I had the honor of serving the people of Texas on the Supreme Court for 6 years. I was reelected in 2008, served another 4 years. Mm-hmm. The term was 6 years, but I retired after a total of 10 years on the Supreme Court to go back to private practice. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. I was humbled to serve. It was hard work. There was hard cases. All the cases that get up that high are hard. They're close calls.
Didn't y'all do about 1,000 in your time there? About 1,000, and you wrote like 125 opinions or something. You did a lot of yours made the newspaper. They did a lot of yours. You had some tough ones to write, and I read about your opinions in the newspaper, the Austin American Statesman. So they liked what you said.
Well,
they liked how you said it.
It's a great memory, Pastor. Yes, we issued about 1,000 or so opinions the 10 years I was on the court, and I did my share, maybe plus a little. Authored 125 opinions.
You're worthy of that honor.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Well, thank you, Pastor. And sometimes the media liked them, and sometimes they didn't. And if they didn't, they'd run a commentary about it, and if they did, sometimes they'd run a commentary.
Yeah, that's true.
But that our job was to do what was right, not do what the media liked or people liked. Because when you enforce and apply the law, in every case, there's going to be some who are successful and some who are not.
Yes.
But you have to commit yourself to do what's right because you took an oath to enforce the Constitution and laws without fear and without favor. And that's
right.
what we tried to do.
That's right. So
you even came to the court.
Yes, I did.
And the
Yes, I did.
pastoral staff.
And I sat where you sat.
And you watched an argument after it was over. You came up on the bench.
Yeah, I did.
And
I wish we could show a picture right now because I looked pretty good that day.
you did. I will send a picture.
Okay, we need to put a picture up of that. I loved it.
Justice Johnson sitting on the bench.
There was one. There was the Justice
There
Johnson.
was.
Yeah,
There
there
was.
was. I met
Bill
him.
Johnson.
Yeah. So Dale, let me just ask something. This is the path that you chose to take, but you also had some. This is a kind of little side note. You also had some athletic skills. I hear you had some speed. I hear you was like a gazelle out there, and you was like a Pegasus, the flying horse out there. You could fly. You could run, and you also was a great fielder and a great hitter. And the Cincinnati Reds looked at you and said, "We like this guy." And so they offered you something, but did Mama's prayers or did what happened? How did that happen? Because I really believe that if you would have went into that field, I think God would have blessed you with anything you put your hand to do. He told Abraham, "Put your foot there, I'm going to give you that. Put your foot there, I'm going to give you that." And you could have put your foot just about anywhere. Now, I know that your humility would say, Pastor, it was a long shot. But everything's a long shot. Where you are today's a long shot, but you're here. And so can you just kind of, did you enjoy ball? Did you enjoy baseball?
I loved baseball. It's still my favorite part.
Did you hit a curve?
If the ball was in the strike zone, I could hit it.
Oh, come on now. See, I'm getting
42 years ago. I could hit anything that was thrown in the strike. A curve, a slider, fastball,
and a lot
knuckleball.
And a lot of infield singles because you could beat them out to first base. You ran a fast. Because I know your son, you have a son who played football for Columbia University on scholarship. And I'm bringing this up because I used to come see him play every year. And he's a phenomenal player. Josh Wainwright, played right here at Bowie, was a great player. And then he went to Columbia. And in his sophomore season, he broke the Columbia receiving record for receiving yards his sophomore year. And so I'm thinking, that's not Debbie. That's you. That's your genetics. That's your genes.
Well,
that's that. He got that from you, and so it might not have been such a long shot. So you just it never was really in your mind to do that, to try to pursue that, or you just was on a path that you thought, this is what I need to do.
Right. Well, quick word about Joshua. When he caught a touchdown, which put him over the yardage needed to break the single season record. That was the last game of the season. After the touchdown, he looked up and gave God the credit. As you pointed out, God will give you the desires of your heart when you follow Him.
That's right. When you delight yourself in Him. So
back to the Reds. I haven't answered your question. I know I haven't.
Right,
I will answer it now.
We're having a discussion here. Go ahead. Talk to me.
I was always focused on education.
Okay.
And Mom was big on education, and so was Dad.
Okay.
And I determined I'm going to go and get a great education. And I didn't go to the tryouts after the Reds expressed an interest. They called my coach after they saw me play and talked about me, and I didn't follow up on it because I was focused on getting an education.
Yeah.
Now, could I have played college ball? I like to think so. Again, decades ago, back in the dark ages when I was a young man, I like to think that I could have made it into the pros, but you never know. But I love the path that God has led me on. If a door closes or you don't take advantage of it, God will open other doors. And the door he opened means I've got a great wife, Debbie. I might not have ever met her if I'd gone to play baseball.
That's right.
And I have fantastic sons.
Yeah.
And I'm at Christian Life Austin Church, which is a phenomenal church with an awesome leader and incredible members, and God's blessing us being planted here at Christian Life.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back a little bit to your mom and dad, because I was at your mom's funeral.
You were.
And had the honor to speak at your mom's funeral, and your dad had already passed,
right,
and your mom passed, and she was also a teacher in high school. She taught English, is that right? She taught
English and French.
And I pastored a young man in this church for a number of years that used to be in Mount Juliet, used to be there, and went to school and had her as a teacher. And he said, this is his word, he said, the hardest teacher I've ever sat under in my life, but she taught me more than anybody ever taught me. And so you had that for a mom. You had that for a mom. You had a woman that was tough and yet steady.
Right.
And you became the person that you are, because behind every great man is a great lady. And you had that mom pushing you, and then you had that dad's direction with the Word of God. So can you talk about your mom just a little bit? Just share a little bit about your mama.
Sure. There's a lot of mom in me, a lot of dad too.
Yeah.
A lot of mom. I don't have as much character and personality and wit as she does. She's like you. She never met a stranger. She talked to anybody, anytime, and just loved it. And my smile doesn't hold a candle to hers. She just light up a room. Yeah. She loved us, all the family, dearly, but she wanted to make sure that we achieved our potential.
Yes, sir.
Work hard, make good decisions, and she would say, be the best. Not just the best you can be, but the best there is. Work that hard. Right. And so I have to give her credit. I'm standing on her shoulders with whatever I've been able to accomplish so far. Right. Yep.
Okay, Dale, let's talk a little bit then about some of these things that you've been able to be appointed to and being able to accomplish. Let's talk about the prison appointment first. Let's talk about that, because I think that led to the Wainwright unit being named after you because of the job that you did for the state of Texas. I remember going to Huntsville one day and walking into the wall unit there in Huntsville, right. and I saw a picture of the board, and there's the chairman, and I told the guards, I said, that man is one of my dearest friends. And I said, he's a member of our church. And they said, you know him? Man, it's like I knew somebody important, you know. And I said, yes, he's a member of our church. I said, man, we love him here. So talk a little bit about how you felt about that and what you learned from that. How long did you serve in that capacity?
I served as chairman of the Texas Texas Board of Criminal Justice, which oversaw the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for about 5 years.
That's what I thought.
I was extremely impressed and honored to be appointed to that position by Governor Abbott.
Yes.
He's a dear friend, and I think he's an outstanding person and a phenomenal leader. I think a lot of him. I've known him for almost 30 years, at least 25 years. Mm-hmm. So he asked me to serve as chairman of that board. And I'll tell you a little bit about the conversation. I said, well, I'm honored, Governor. As you know, I've retired from the Texas Supreme Court working for the government. I've moved back into private practice, and I'd love to serve in this voluntary position. I'm trying to work hard so I can earn a retirement one day soon, Governor. He said, oh, you've got time for that. You can serve. I said, how can I tell the governor of our state no when he's asking me to serve and help him serve the people of the state? So I was appointed, confirmed by the Texas Senate, which is required. And then, as you heard,
you stop that. You retired from that, and then he steps up again. The governor steps up again and says, I got another position for you over the police department of all of Texas.
Mm-hmm. Again, I'm humbled to have the confidence of the governor.
Governor Abbott won't let you alone. He won't leave you be.
You know, and I'm not sure there's another leader in our government that I would rather serve with and under, frankly. And now I'm a commissioner on the Public Safety Commission with 2 other commissioners and a chairman of the commission, and we have the honor of serving of overseeing the men and women in blue. State troopers, investigators, and the Texas Rangers, and we also have a big part in border security these days. And it's an important job, and there's a lot to do, and men and women honestly make the state of Texas proud if the people knew everything that they do. I mean, every day they leave the house, and their family knows, because they're putting their life on the line for the people, they may not come back. But they do that every day so that you and me and our families can sleep peacefully at night.
So now you're with Greenberg Traurig, and kind of explain, Dale, you are really a person that would handle the appeal situations in trials. In other words, you're more of an examiner of what might went wrong in that trial or what we didn't do in that trial, and so you bring it back and you appeal it even as far as the Supreme Court that you used to sit on. And so you've argued the Supreme Court numerous times with this law firm that you're with. And I think when you get in a chance to talk, you get about 20 minutes. Is that right? In front of the Supreme Court, 20 minutes?
Each side gets 20 minutes.
I'm not on my second point in my sermon, buddy. You got to say it good, concise, and quick. I mean, quick.
That's right. You're being modest. You have some phenomenal fire and brimstone sermons and outstanding teaching sermons. So don't.
Oh man, no, I didn't need that. But tell me a little bit about that. Now, do you feel an unusual pressure because you used to sit where they sit now?
Well, I know they're going to be expecting a level of excellence. But that's the standard that our firm requires for all of our work. It's a big firm, 42 offices worldwide, and I get to be a co-chair of the National Appellate Practice. So like you said, don't do the trial work. Although as a lawyer, I may be with the trial team from our firm, and other firms hire us to help them as well with appeals. And then after the trial's over, win, lose, or draw, then I'll handle the appeal.
That's right.
So if we won, my job is to defend the victory when the other side tries to get it overturned on appeal. If things didn't go well, then my job is to try to get it reversed because of error that happened in the trial court, either the judge or the jury may have committed some error.
So you are, in effect, in baseball, the instant replay. To say that man was out, that man was safe. You know what I'm saying? And this is the way I see it.
Well, the judges are the instant replay decision makers.
Okay.
My job is to point out why there was error.
I got you.
Or if there was none.
I got you.
And now we'll tell our clients, if they want us to appeal a matter, we'll analyze it and say, look, in our professional opinion, that might not be something we could win on appeal, or it might be low chance of winning on appeal, or we may say there's a good chance on appeal. So we'll let them know honestly, and we don't tend to take cases that have a low probability of being overturned on appeal. So
what an occupation! What an occupation!
I enjoy it.
Well, it just keeps you so. You have to be so up to date. You have to be so in time and in step with the new laws coming in, as well as remembering the thing that brought you here, the old laws that are like rocks. They're like stones. They don't change. They're still there. It's there. The Constitution is there. And so you have to handle all this new stuff as well. So the nuances of being an attorney in this day and age may rank right up there with trying to handle people as a pastor.
Well, it's close, maybe not quite there, but you're right, and that's very insightful, Pastor. That's why I have a great team. We have a great team of lawyers, and we work together.
I have a great team here. So you went to law school at Chicago, University of Chicago.
That's correct.
And which was the #1 school in America at that time.
Well, we thought in the 80s it may have been the hardest law school in the country.
Yeah, and you're supposed to put maybe 10. We talked about this before. You're supposed to put maybe 10 law schools you want to go to, and you put 2. You put Chicago and Vanderbilt.
Well,
that's all you want to go to. If I don't go there, I'm not going anywhere. But God. Go ahead, say it.
You got a great memory. This shows how naive this country boy was going to law school and being the first in my family to go to law school and be a lawyer. First ever. When you apply to law school, you're supposed to apply to about 8 or 10. A couple that are really exceedingly difficult to get into, great reputations, and then a few that you probably are very likely to get into, and then some in the middle. That way you have a chance of getting into some good law schools.
Yeah, I got you.
I didn't know that, so I just applied to 2 at the top. And thankfully, God
and the
put
number
aside,
one school chose you.
God put aside my naivete and worked it out.
That's so precious. That's so. Hey, isn't this guy interesting? Isn't he amazing? This is the man that I've known since 2008, and what a gentleman, what a Christian, a man that loves God, loves people, and loves the cause. And what an honor to have him on today. So, Dale, we're gonna wrap this up with this. I know you want to close by saying something precious about your sweet wife. I think she's one of the funniest people, in the planet. I love her humor. She steps outside the line sometime in her humor, but it's always so good. Debbie, I'm sorry.
Cute women can get away with that.
Yeah, that's right.
She does.
That's right. And then your 3 sons. And so I just kind of want you to finish with maybe showing the championship pedigree that is in you, that came from your mom and dad and passed on through you to your sons. And we talked about this, so this is not something that is it's going to surprise you, me asking you this. But I want you just to kind of talk about your family here at the end, and then we're going to wrap this up. But tell us a little bit about your family before we go today.
Okay. Well, you aptly described my wife. Debbie is... She's as honest as the day is long. She's candid, and she'll say what's on her mind.
Yes.
You never have to wonder where she stands. You know, some people hold it in, and then there's a bomb explosion later. She doesn't hold it in. We have great, candid conversations, and love her dearly. She's been fantastic as the mother of our children. Our sons are good young men. They're aged 24 to 34. The oldest, speaking of championships, when he was, before he got to college, he was on a chess team at his school, and they won the state championship a couple of years. The second year, they went to the national championships in Arizona and won the national chess championship.
There it is.
And talking about pressure and composure and using your brain when the chips are on the line. I was really pleased and glad that he was able to accomplish that.
Yes.
The middle one, who's a professional dancer out in California and also does motion capture. He performs at Disneyland. He, after graduating from college and being a professional dancer, his dance group won the national, in fact, the worldwide partner dance championship in Burbank, California a few years ago.
There it is.
So again, the ability to make it happen when the pressure's on and there's no do-overs. Really, really proud of him too. And then our youngest, as you said, just graduated not too long ago from university. He's got a great job. He's an IPO, as my wife calls him, not initial public offering, but income producing offspring. She said that's the goal, and they all 3 are there. But Josh, he dedicated himself to hard work and refining his skills as a receiver, route running, catching, hand position, all the things. A lot of things you'd never think about unless you play that position at the college level. And now is a record holder for the more than 150 years for receiving yards in a single season that they've been playing football at Columbia. So,
and
God's blessing.
He catches everything because he does. And you know what? So do you. You catch everything in a different way, but you catch it, and you understand what it takes to make it in life. You have an understanding. You're like the sons of Issachar in the Bible. You have an understanding of the times. And Dale, from my heart to your heart, it's just been an honor. It's been an honor knowing you these last 14 years and all the things we've done. We've hit golf balls together. You know, you hit it further than I do.
Well, didn't used to.
Well, but you do now. but you're such a tremendous person, and you know I've often said that I can play 18 holes of golf with somebody and know everything about them, because everything shows up on a golf course. You know, it shows up if they cheat, if they're angry, if they're haughty, if they're high-minded. You know, all those things. You passed the golf course test a long time ago. but
Thank
what
God.
a joy, what a joy, sir, to have you as a friend in this church and as a comrade in life. It's Patti and I marvel. I had a little situation several years ago. I was taken advantage of by a phone call, and I thought I was in trouble with the sheriff's department for not showing up at a trial, and it was just a fake call. It was just nothing but
It was fraud.
Bogus. It's bogus. And I remember reaching out to you, and at that time you lived about 2 drivers from my house. Yeah, two driven golf balls from my house, and here you came on a Saturday morning, and in the matter of 30 minutes, you had all of that solved with, and I could rest, because I thought I was headed to the jailhouse because I had not shown up at a trial, and as a jury member. And so the way you have helped me in life, the way you have stood by us in life, and even when we built this beautiful church, and a bank said, we're not going to help you. You said, Pastor, let's go have breakfast. We had breakfast. You said, I know a bank that'll help you. And the bank you turned us on to, sir, in 4 weeks had given us our money. And now the church is built. It's a beautiful place. And you helped me in those areas. And I'll never forget that. When somebody helps me the way you did when I was in need, you're a friend indeed for the rest of my life. And so I love you, and I love your family, and I love you being here today. Would you like to say something as we depart here today?
I would. I want to thank God for putting you in Christian life in my family's life. We've talked about this before.
Yes, sir.
My wife and family and I have lived in Austin since 2003. And when we got here, we visited a number of churches for a couple of years. And we just didn't find the place where God was going to plant us, where our roots were to go. And then we came to Christian Life Austin, and we walked in the door and we could feel it. This is where we're supposed to be, because you're ordained, you're spirit-filled, you've got a vision for bringing people to Christ, and the people who are already in the church deepening their relationship. We don't tread water here. You're always talking about how to get closer to God and enjoy life even more abundantly than we are. And the people here and the your leadership staff here, just salt of the earth. We're just, 4,000 or 5,000 friends at this church is what we are. It may be more than that now, but that's last I heard. So we're really blessed that to be here, and it's just incredibly quite an honor to have you and Patti, we call her Sweet Pea, as our good friends.
She's quite a lady too.
She is,
and her and your wife get along because they're kind of in the same pot.
When they get together, that's a critical mass.
Yeah, it's a critical mass. It really is. Let me have your hand, sir. Dear Father, I thank you for today, and I thank you for my friend, and I thank you for this time. We ask you now to bless everyone that listens to this podcast and realize that there is no stage in life that's too small for the greatness of God in their life. And let them understand, God, that attitude will determine altitude, and they can soar with eagles because, God, you want to give us the best in our life. Now bless us all today as we listen to this, and thank you for our listening audience. For it's in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you guys for joining us. We honor you. We thank you. And I hope you receive something from this good man today, because you heard from a man that knows what he's talking about. May God bless you. Have a super day.